Hey everybody, welcome to the Whiskey Cove, and on today's installment we have part 2 of the Barton 1792 Bourbon Battle. Let's go! Okay then folks, let's get into this blind battle, shall we? But before we begin, a little bit of housekeeping here. I know originally I wanted to do 3 episodes with the winner of last week and the winner of this week then competing in a championship round. But I'm going to extend that to 4, but I'll tell you why. I want to give the losers another opportunity to make it to the final. So the 2 losers from last week and the 2 losers from this episode will then make another 3rd episode and another bracket, and then the winner of that will join the 2 winners in the championship bracket. So we'll have the sweet wheat from last week, we'll have the winner from this episode, and then we'll have the winner of like the runners up, the 4 runners up, or the 4 losers, I guess. And then we'll have 3 total in the championship bracket, which I think will make it a more of an interesting episode. So with that being said, let's get this episode on today. My wife's going to pour these into glasses, she's going to mix them up, and then we'll see what comes out on top. Okay folks, we have them into glasses and we have them all mixed up, ready to go. So this is going to be glass 1, glass 2, glass 3. And we'll start from your left to my right. We'll start from your left to your right. Let's go, glass 1. Okay, so I thought this was going to be a difficult round, and we've started with glass 1, and I can tell you straight away this is going to be a difficult round because this is fantastic whiskey in this glass. I get a little bit of citrus, a little bit of lemon citrus, lovely sweet notes, beautiful sweet caramel, beautiful sweet molasses, full rich notes coming through. There's a little bit of proof there, but this is my first whiskey of the day, so I'm not really going to count that as anything. But a very beautiful, inviting nose. Let's go in for a taste. Glass 1. Okay, to begin, on the palate, sweet caramel corn straight away. Some cherry notes there as well. No heat whatsoever. There's nothing coming through there. You could drink this one all day. Let's go in for another taste here. Very well balanced. A really nice mouth coating. No spice. I'm not getting hardly any spice on this whatsoever. Maybe a tingling of pepper right at the end of the finish. It dries out your mouth just a little bit, but there's just no spice on this. Getting some really nice toffee notes there right on the end as well. Getting a little bit of barrel char there and some toffee notes just to finish that one out. So then let's get into glass number 2. So straight away on the nose, getting some big caramel notes and some big vanilla notes. Didn't so much get the vanilla on the glass 1. A little bit of apple there as well, so kind of like an apple caramel vanilla pie, kind of like the ones you get from McDonald's. Very inviting nose. Let's go in for a taste. This is glass 2. So straight away is a nice little bit of spice and heat up front, but that kind of tails off really fast. The sweetness is there right at the beginning, but again that kind of tails off there through the body and through the finish. Getting a little bit more spice with this one throughout from the beginning to the finish. I think the finish, there's not really much going on. The sweetness has gone away at this point. You are getting a little bit of spice, but it doesn't feel like there's much age on this one compared to the first one, that is at least. Let's go in for another taste. So with glass 2, it's a lot more thinner, it tastes a lot more youthful. The nose is fantastic. To begin with, the taste is great as well. You get some really nice sweet vanilla notes and some sweet caramel notes on the taste. But as soon as you get through to the body and through the end, there's not too much going on. There's a little bit of spice there, but there's no real age with it as well. So it's not as rounded as the first one. However, we still have one more to taste, so let's move into glass 3. So straight away on the nose with glass 3, I'm getting more of a tea note here, more of like a citrus tea, kind of like an Earl Grey vibe going on with this. Some sweet notes still there as well. You're still getting kind of like the sweet caramel, as I have from all 3 of these so far. I'm also getting like a cherry marzipan type note, similar to one of the ones we were tasting the other day. All in all, quite an inviting nose. Let's go in for a taste. So immediately what I've noticed about this one is it has a really nice sweetness to it, a nice brown sugar sweetness that carries right through to the end. There is more oak spice to this one. It feels like there's a little bit more age than definitely glass 2 with this one. Maybe almost a little bit more proof forward as well. I felt like that's kicked up a little bit more here as you get in more of those like brown sugar and kind of like burnt caramel and a little bit of marshmallow note with this one. Let's go in for another taste. So then just concluding on glass 3, there was a lot more rye spice on this one than there was on the other 2. I feel like the heat kind of carried right through the whole thing to the finish, where that rye spice kind of kicked up a lot more. Pretty rounded whiskey. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pause the camera, I'm going to taste through these a little bit more, and then we'll come back and then we'll get them in order and see who's today's winner. Okay folks, welcome back, and I believe we have them in order at this point. It took me a little bit of a while for the last 2 to be able to figure out the winner, but we got there in the end. So with that being said, the one that came in 3rd place is going to be glass number 2. I just felt like, much like some of the other 1792s you tried in the last round, it was nice and sweet up front, but then towards the middle and towards the finish, there just wasn't too much going on there. Again, nothing bad about the whiskey. It's still a fantastic whiskey, but up against these other 2, it just kind of fell a little bit short. So then let's find out what came in last place. Glass 2 came in last place, and that is letter A, which was, got the cheat sheet here, small batch. So that kind of makes a lot of sense here. This is a $30 bottle of bourbon. There's nothing bad about this bourbon. It's a fantastic bourbon. If you're someone who likes more of the sweet notes and you don't particularly like too much of a finish with whiskey, I think this will be right up your street. The proof didn't carry through much in here as well. I believe this is, 46.85% alcohol or 93.7% proof. Maybe that had a little bit to do with it as well. I felt like, I don't know what the age is on these small batch, but I'll put them on the screen anyway when we're tasting them. But it kind of felt like it was a little bit more youthful, and that makes complete sense at this point. So then coming in at 2nd place, that is going to be glass number 3. Again, this was close between 3 and 1. This was just a little bit more spicy, where this was just a little bit more sweet, and it just felt like it had more age to it, which I prefer in my whiskeys. Nevertheless, if you're someone who kind of likes a Wild Turkey 101, something with like a lot of bacon spices and rye spices, I think you like this a lot. So let's find out what came in at number 2. That is glass B. So glass B, that was 1792 bottled in bond. So this doesn't surprise me at all. I felt like you could taste the proof throughout. I think this is the hottest one out of the 3, or the one with the most alcohol content. I felt like you got more of those barrel char notes, and kind of like the rye spice really stood out. It was a fantastic whiskey, but it just wasn't good enough to beat glass 1. It has another opportunity to try to get through to the final in next week's episode, and I think this is going to be a strong contender. But with that being said, let's find out what won today's episode. And that is, of course, 1792 12 year. So this is just a fantastic whiskey, and I'm so glad that I won blind. I felt like they had some beautiful corn, caramel corn, sweet notes up front, and that really just carried through to the whole whiskey. You could taste the age on it, but it was more of like a dry oak note as opposed to like a spicy oak note, and that was really appealing, and I really liked it. I think this 12 year is gonna be a very difficult bottle to beat in the final. So then the 12 year will make it through the championship bracket, where it will be joined by the Sweet Tweet from last week's episode. But the bottled in bond, small batch, single barrel and full proof will have one more opportunity to join them in that final. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please smash that like button and subscribe as we continue to make this channel grow as we drink through the world's whiskies one glass at a time. Cheers.